Hello. So today we are going to look at using the scheduling module in Future POS. The scheduling module in Future POS is intended for a few things. One, you can use it to create schedules that you can print and post for your employees. In that functionality, you can also add their availabilities, whether they prefer off or whether or not they cannot work on that day. So these little requests that you get on pieces of paper from your staff for requested days off in the future can be entered in immediately into the system. And then when those requested days do come available, the scheduling module will show you those days and that they've requested off, and the reason that you've provided for why they need that time off will all be stored into the system. The other requesting can be preferred days off. If someone prefers to have off on every Sunday, you can put that into the system. It will alert you of the fact that they prefer to have those days off, but it will allow you to go ahead and schedule them on those days if you do need them to work on those days. The next part is going to be the shifts and the shifts available. So you can go into the system and you can create shifts in advance. Those shifts will have times on them, let's say from 10 to 4 o'clock, which would be a 6-hour shift. And you can use that data for those average shift times in order to create a theoretical labor cost based off of the labor dollars that are entered in employee maintenance for those employees. The next functionality is allowing you to restrict certain employees or all employees from clocking in before a certain grace period of time for their shift. So for example, we can restrict all kitchen staff and service staff from being able to clock in any more than 15 minutes, let's say, before their scheduled shift. So that is the full functionality of our labor and scheduling module. So I'm going to go into the Future POS back office. I have already signed in, so I'm just going to be able to go in there. If you have your dashboard set up, then your dashboard will show the schedule on it. If you do not have your dashboard set up, then you can access that through maintenance and schedule. Just going to go ahead and open that up. As you see here, the scheduling maintenance is divided by the week that you're in and the job code that you're doing the scheduling for. So I'm just going to show you some of the things that you're going to need to do first before you can go ahead and create your first schedule. So if I click Edit here, and I go to Edit Shifts, the first thing you need to do per job code is set up the shifts. So I have shift descriptions here of AM bar, this is the bartender job code, AM bar, weekend, AM to PM bar weekend, PM bar weekend, and week and PM bar weekend. And we've already come in and set up all of these shifts in advance, but we're going to go ahead and add a shift so you can see the functionality in the process. So we click Add Shift, Shift Description. So I'm just going to say mid bartender. And our mid bartender is going to start at 11 o'clock in the morning. You can either use your up and down keys in order to change those, or you can just go ahead and type in right here. And our mid bartender is going to end their shift at 8 p.m. So let's keep in mind here that, these end times normally not desirable in the restaurant industry for service staff to be able to see their end times. These can be the end times cannot be shown on the schedules that you print. These timings here are more of an estimate for how long the shift will generally last. That way you can use that in your forecasting. So I'm going to go ahead and click OK. And then you can see that the mid bartender shift that I just created is here. So let's go ahead and do an availability. So I'm going to do an availability for this first individual by right-clicking and then going to employee availability. And you can see that availability is done by either a date range or their weekly availability. So I'm going to do a weekly availability. So this is showing me they're available, they prefer off, or they're unavailable. So this employee is not available on Sundays to work. So I'm going to change it from available to unavailable, and I am going to click and drag over Sunday. Now that employee is not available on Sundays. They prefer to have off on Monday. So I'm going to go in, do prefer off, and I'm going to drag it over that. And now they are not available to work on Sundays and they prefer to have off on Mondays. And if it is just an AM PM thing, you also have the availability to do unavailable from 4 p.m. on Thursday, 4 p.m. on Friday, and you can also do multiple days just by dragging down over those boxes. And then I'm going to click OK. So you can see here it says overlay employee availability. This is important if you're trying to make a shift and you want to be able to see the availabilities that you've put in for these individuals. So I'm going to click overlay employee availability. We're also going to go here and put in a special request off for this employee. So we're going to do employee availability and availability by a date range. So we're going to do add a range. Description here is going to be concert. Start date and end date, we're going to ask for the 20th. And not available. And we're going to click add range. And then we're going to click OK. So you're going to see here on that Thursday immediately popped up on here is the unavailable time for this employee. So let's go ahead and start adding shifts to the schedule. It's also important to note that once you've created schedules, you can go into the edit and copy schedule and copy previous week's schedules into your new schedule. So what you'll be able to do here is once you've created a schedule and saved it, then the next week you'll just be able to go in and copy last week's schedule over to this week. And at that point, you'll just be able to use that schedule and make the changes to it that you need to make for the employee availabilities that might be changing from week to week. Most of your schedule will probably remain the same from week to week. So this is quite a time savings feature that's built in here. So first thing, let's go ahead and right click here and click add shift. I'm going, and as you can see, I'm actually adding a shift to the day that this employee does prefer off. So I'm going to do an AM bar shift from 11 to 4. It's requested this time of day off. Do you still want to add this shift? Yes. Now, if I go and I try to do that for add shift on a red day, which is unavailable, you're going to get a warning that says they're unavailable to work this shift. So I'm going to come in here on Wednesday, add a shift, PM bar week. I'm going to come in here on Friday, add shift. Now this is a day that they need the night off and not the day. So if I go in there and try to put in a PM bar shift, it's going to say they're unavailable to work. But if I go in to put an AM bar shift, it's going to allow me to add that shift. So what you're seeing here is that this employee is now scheduled for 23 hours. Unfortunately, in the demo, there is no data here for how much the employee is getting paid. If you do go through and put in the wages into the employee maintenance module, it will go ahead and calculate on here what the total for this is. And it will also calculate the total for the hours, the total for the amount of shifts down here on the bottom for this schedule, and it will also give you the total wage dollars that you are spending on this particular job code. So you're able to track per job code the wage dollars that you're spending and the forecast for those individuals. So again, going into another employee here, add shift, PM week, add shift, PM week, add shift, PM week, add shift, PM week, add shift, PM week. And you can also go in there and right click on it and click remove shift and remove that shift from that individual. You also have the ability to schedule multiple days for an individual, so you don't have to go through one day through another. You will only have the availability to choose one shift in here when you're doing multiple days. So if they work Monday through Friday, AM bar. So let's do that. We'll do schedule multiple days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So this is my AM bartender, Monday through Friday. And it'll just pop those shifts in for each of those days. Now, if you want to print the schedule, you'll just go to File and click Print Schedule. And you can sort by name, or you can sort by the job code and the employee name. And then print shift description only, or print shift description and shift times. So if you were to go in and put the times in the actual description in there, so 11 through with nothing in there, then you would be able to just print the description only. Just sometimes will make your schedules be smaller and easier to read. So I can print that to any schedule that I want. I'm actually just going to print this to a PDF so we can actually view it on the screen real quick. Oh, doesn't want to let me do that. Let me try to do that one more time. We're going to change it to shift times because I do not have the in and out times in the descriptions. Just waiting for that PDF to get created. And just save that to my desktop. I'm going to minimize that real quick and open up the schedule. So as you can see here, the schedule was created with the in and the out times. If you had scheduled doubles on these specific days, then you would be able to see both of those shifts in here for those doubles as well.